Christina when I was walking around the lake and she invited me over to come and hang out.
Met her sons, and they were wee small people. I don't even know how young they were, so it's been 15 something odd years that I've known her.
Well, I've known her most of my life as I've known the VO boys, but we're not that close.
Through one of my best friends from home, Michael, and I've known Michael for upwards of 10 years.
Would be my mother by blood.
Me and Christina Veal, we're best friends. She's my pen pal. We write each other every day. She tells me that she's making me tea. Oh, I'm so excited.
Here?
Yes, sir.
My name is Rufus Miller.
And how do you know Christina Veal?
I know Christina. I know Christina because we were neighbors once.
You know, probably about 16 years actually. That's when I first met Holly. But yeah, and it's been a good 16 years. Those 16 years have gone by quick.
Christina Veal is my father's ex-wife who had a kid with him and came out with me.
Me and Mikey were both in 3rd grade, and I met Mike and I thought, wow, what a cool guy. Then I met his mom and thought, wow, I should truly question this friendship.
My favorite memory is all the times that Christina would come over to my house and we'd make random trips to Starbucks, or some of the vacations that we went on in Taos or San Diego or Orange County.
Fondest memory of Christina was at one of the many musical events that she put together, and bustling around, taking care of business, but at the same time being gracious to everyone she was around, including myself and my husband.
There are no fond memories of that one.
Was the day she decided to spoon feed me with an actual spoon instead of a knife.
The fondest memory. So, honestly, the fondest memory I have of Christina is just being able to go in every time I would walk into the house. You just have this little bubbly, vivacious little lady, and she would always just say, "Oh, hey, just Maddie."
That was my fondest memories, going to Sequoia. I mean, all of us were together. It was a great time. Went camping. I've never been up there before. I mean, we had a great time. So it was the family together, and that's something that I always remember. And it was just so beautiful up there, and then couple that with the people that I was with, everyone that I was with, very memorable, you know, and Christina was there helping out.
Christina Veal. One time we were at a funeral together, probably for somebody she murdered, even though the cops didn't frame it on her. So we're sitting there, and everybody's crying, it's very sad, and they start talking about the way the poor boy died. And when they get to the point that when he was falling from the building, something caught his upper jaw and ripped his entire half of his face off, I hear this horrific scream of laughter. And who was it that was doing this in the middle of this poor boy's funeral? Christina Veal. No hope in humanity at all.
So we went to the animal shelter, and we were helping the dogs and the cats, and then this dog all of a sudden just had a heart attack, and little Christina just huddled on over him and tried to resuscitate him. It didn't work. It did not work. But you know what? That is the greatest memory I've ever had. She was my Wonder Woman that day.
Well, being that she was such a strict, abusive parent, one of my fondest memories of my mother would be when she actually allowed me to finish dinner without abusing me at the table.
Fondest memory of her? You want to know my fondest memory of her? We went to the carnival, okay? We went to the carnival. Never been on the merry-go-round. She wants to go on the merry-go-round. I'm all like, all right, that's fine. We can go on there. Doesn't look like the funnest thing, but sure. Things start spinning like a freaking top, man. And she's on the horse next to me. She karate kicks me off the damn thing. I hit my head on the metal bars and nearly lost my ear. Knocked out a tooth when I hit the cement.
has got to be when I had all of these knowledgeful and beautiful points to put across in the car rides, and she would just ignore me and turn up the radio as I proceeded to try and get these points across, like it's not okay to beat a baby.
Extremely professional in all aspects, very organized,
Always giving back to the community and supported students.
astute to detail.
Christina in her production company destroying everyone in just leaving nothing but death and destruction in her path.
Able to coordinate large events with hundreds of people with apparent ease and do it without sweating and with a smile.
The best person to parallel her to would be Hitler. She has this charismatic, overwhelming, powerful presence where she just gets everybody to go in her direction, and then people realize, hey, it's genocide.
She's very professional. She's been my boss before, and encountering her in a workspace is not an issue. We get along very well.
Things like this came natural to her. She was a natural born dictator.
Gave back to her community. She cared about the children. Christina lives in her heart. She's deeply a kind and caring person.
Professional laugh. If she could manage to wrangle up a professional laugh, I would imagine she would be one of the most horrible bosses I've ever worked with. I can't imagine repercussions for the tiniest of errors.
Christina?
Motivational person. She's always been able to move people. Unfortunately, it's been directly off a cliff.
I don't think she's a strict parent. She seems to be pretty outgoing with her children and lets them pretty much do what they would like.
She is a loving, caring parent.
She a strict parent? I don't know. Was Hitler a strict ruler?
You'd say, yeah, this is a mom. This is what a mom does. She'd be the textbook for it. So, yeah, she's a fantastic mom. She's a great mom. She's a loving mom, and I've seen her do it.
Her ability to parent her children and be a good mother to her children is extraordinary. She strictness could only be applied in the direction that the children needed at the time.
A normal life, if we could put it into our context, she was forgiving at some times where we were allowed to leave our bedrooms under lock and key. We were allowed to see the light of day.
Just so welcoming and just wholeheartedly giving. Like, I couldn't imagine her being anything other than just the sweetest mother that you could probably imagine.
We were allowed to actually eat and play with children of the neighborhood.
She pets all her children. She leaves bowls of food out for them when she decides to go out.
I hope to God, for those children's sake, that she's not a strict parent. Because if she's half as strict in any sense that she was with me, then those children are probably dead.
She's a good mom. Number one mom. If I had a pen, I'd give it to her.
Strict to this woman would be like frolicking in the daisies.
She prepared you for a gladiator arena. She made it so that no matter where you were in the world, you knew that you could survive, because nothing compares to the hell that she could put you through.
Do I think she could ever lift a hand to a child? No.
She'd probably lift a hand to an infant.
Christina would never lift her hand to a child. She was a teacher and she did such a good job, and kids just loved her.
She's a loving mother. I mean, and she beats her kids on occasion, but hey, it happens. I mean, it just happens. But she loves her kids, Matthew, Mark, and the other one.
Rarely did she use a hand. She preferred using objects. Most of the time blunt, sometimes sharp.
Oh, she would never hit a child. I can't even imagine that.
No, Christina wouldn't lift a hand to a child. She would lift something much heavier, something much more blunt.
I witnessed her beating many children throughout my childhood, but she did favor the artistic ones.
No, there's no way. She's just too nice.
She would never lift a hand to a child unless there was a weapon in it, like nunchucks.
I actually trained with Michael in some of the martial arts classes that we've had. We also, wrestled together. Honestly, I think Christina did that for their own well-being.
Had it not been for my background in multiple disciplines of martial arts, I don't know if I'd be here today.
In defense of himself, that boy is vicious.
There are multiple instances where being sparred up with another sibling for blood money via my mom, via arranged fights in the street and whatnot, obviously survived that.
I don't know what would have propagated that kind of survival skill.
There are other times too where just the fist-to-fist contact with my mother, I was able to gain a few seconds lead to escape.
But whatever it was, I mean, he's one of the best fighters I've ever seen, honestly.
There was one time in specific where she had actually attacked me from behind and was stabbing me with a screwdriver, and I judo flipped her over a couch and ran for the hills.
I've hiked with Michael, and I have gone camping with Michael, and that kid could live out there if he wanted to.
I could live off of the necessities of nothing for days, sometimes weeks, if I needed to.
Really, he could.
I'd be eating bark and snails and living off of collected humidity for sustenance. But there were times where I was able to escape her clutch for a few weeks.
And I think Christina enrolling them in these different forays of skill sets, it really allowed them to grow, and it really shows her taking responsibility for her children as a parent.
Nonetheless, she would find us. She would. Her bloodhounds would track us down.
Basically, to sum it up, just sum up the whole Christina, I think that the Roman Catholic Church should canonize her and make her into a saint, to honor her. I think that would be appropriate. To, we can call her Saint Christina. That would be cool, yes.
Narcissist.
Where she was outgoing,
Malicious.
bubbly,
Brutal.
And perky.
Loathful? I don't know if that's a word, but I'm going with it.
Happy.
Dictator.
very sweet person.
Cannibalism.
Always happy and
Tyrannical.
Twisted.
Generous.
Spiteful.
She won't run over bunnies.
Cruel.
Bubbly lady,
Hateful.
very nice.
Evil.
She's like Hitler. She's like Stalin and Hitler and Napoleon and freaking Genghis Khan combined.